Well, back down here in the shop today. We'll see if we can get this cabinet finished up so I can start on the doors. If you remember last time, I told you I had a little boo-boo here on the corner where I was feeding it through the router table, and I was supposed to start my groove up here at this dado. First pass through did fine, second pass I bumped the corner on it and dug into it a little bit. So what I did, I chiseled it out a little bit, cleaned it up, cut a little piece of scrap, I glued it in, I've had it clamped up. And it's a little oversized, but I will now saw this down, clean it up a little bit, and then see if we can get that looking good. Alright, that's pretty good. And let's hit it with a little sandpaper here. This was on the back side, on the back corner. Nobody ever saw it, but one day down the line, somebody may have picked it up to carry it out and saw that boo-boo there. Just couldn't help but fix it. Where the grooves are, where the patch went in, what I'm going to do now is take my sander where I had been sanding on this thing. Got some nice oak sawdust in there. I'm going to put a little super glue, CA glue. Sprinkle some of that dust in there. And take an old sanding pad. Rub it in, make a little slurry out of it. Hit it with a little activator. And all cleaned up. Once I put some finish on there, never see it. Also, I have these plugs where I plugged up my screw holes. I need to flush them up. Get my flush cut saw here. And hit them with a chisel a little bit. Okay, those are good. So, I've got about 30 more plugs here to clean up. I'm going to take care of that, and then we'll do a final sanding on the outside of the cabinet, and I'll see you back shortly. Well, one other thing I've got to do, my top of the sides extended up just a little bit, so what I'm going to do is take my flush trim bit on my router and clean that up a little. Much more better. Well, I've got the cabinet all sanded up, and I'm fixing to cut the back boards. Instead of buying one 4x8 sheet, I buy two 2x4 sheets, and I cut them down. I put the seam across the back of a shelf. I've done this before. It's a lot easier to cut, and 4x8 sheets is really big to manhandle. So I've got my first mark here, and I'm not going to put a guide. I'm just going to cut it freestyle here, and hopefully it will work, and we'll see how it goes. Looks pretty good. Just hit a little bit of sandpaper here, not much. Alright, I got to trim the sides down a little bit, then I'll take my other piece, cut it down to size, and have the back done. I'm about through with this cabinet here. I'm ready to get on those doors. Well, got the cabinet done, all sanded up. I've got my back cut. Got it, wasted a little blue tape, taping it in there just to get an idea of what it's going to look like. I think it's going to look pretty sharp. I've got my boards out of the storage room for the doors. I cut my rails and stiles, and this big board right here is going to be my panels. I'm going to have 4 panels, 2 in each door. Let's see, but I'm going to run these through the planer next, get them down to the proper 3/4 size, and then start cutting these parts out for these rails and stiles. I'm getting excited about these doors. Let's zoom in here a little bit. Oh yeah, and I will be putting a base at the bottom down there, but I have to cut that out of some of these other boards. I didn't have enough in the other boards for the base, but I will cover up that gap at the bottom. And so I am ready to make doors. Well, I've got all my rails and stiles cut to length and ripped to proper width. And you can see I've been kind of doing a little layout here, finding centers and whatnot, and calculating the panel width, what I'm doing right now. So I'm coming over here now and we'll rough cut the panels. Then I'll take it over to the table saw sled and trim them up there. Well, I've cut the base for the bottom of the cabinet, and I've marked where I want to drill holes so I can screw it in there. So I'm going to drill a few pilot holes right now. Okay, there's pilot holes. Now let's switch and put the countersink bit in. It's ready to go on the cabinet. Okay, I've got my baseboard ready. I've already started my screws in, and I've got them sticking out the back side just where you can barely feel the point. And then what I like to do with that, get it lined up where I want it, nice and flush. I'll take a mallet, pop them in there, and that shows me where I need to drill my pilot holes. Okay. All right. Take that out. I'm going to put a little bit of glue. I don't think I'm going to brush that. Now I got my pilot holes. Go right where I want it. old squeaky oak. Alright. I'm going to plug these up. I didn't do anything to the top. I may come back with the router and round it over a little later. I want to make sure, see how the doors are going to set with it before I do anything like that. I may just give it just a soft little round over, but that's it for there. Now, all I got to do is put a few plugs in here. Had a pretty productive day. I flush cut and sanded all the plugs from last time and give the cabinet a good once over sanding. I have cut all my rails and stiles and panels for my raised doors, planed them and cut them down proper length and width. Cut my baseboard here today and I'm installing it, and I believe that's about all I'm going to do for the day, because it's been down here about 6 hours and it's getting very hot. Georgia is very hot right now. So I know my camera picks up the fan right behind me very well, along with every other sound, but I just didn't feel like cutting the fan off today. It's just too hot and muggy. Well, just kind of got it laid out here, but kind of gives you an idea what it's going to look like. I know the panels are just resting on top here, but next time down here I'll pull out the router table and install my new raised panel bits. I had picked these up. Picked these up on eBay for 35 bucks, and I hope they work out well. They're cheap, but if I get a few projects out of them, I'll be happy. So, see you next time.